So here is the dramatic conclusion to the Eagle test shots. This is the very first one I did, and the windows there were cut out by me, and so was the back to pull the master out of the plastic. Since this came out perfect, I figured any subsequent one that I did would also be perfect. However, it was not the case, and you can see what that looked like now. So, I realized what I had done, and I think the problem was that on this very first one, I draped the plastic over this master, then I turned the vacuum cleaner on. In those four instances you just saw, I had the vacuum going as I put it on, which created too much suction and blew the piece apart. So, let me show you what's going on here. We've got our styrene all set up here. This is going on these wooden blocks, just so. And that will be in there for half a minute, maybe a minute. We'll see where it's at. So let me lock this down here. Alright. I may have to pull that up again in a second. So you saw those other ones blew out here. I was thinking I could create a wall and seal off some of that suction. But let's see how this works. I think it's going to do it. That could be a little while, so I may cut away. One of the things you should definitely have on hand is an X-Acto, just to cut everything out, just in case you need to. This styrene is very hot, and the idea of keeping that kind of heat applied to resin is probably not the best idea. You should have oven mitts, but I don't, so I have motorcycle gloves instead. I figure if these will handle road burn, they'll definitely handle oven burn easy enough. So let me show you what's going on here in the oven. Definitely get your fans going. So this is starting to sag, and if you give it a little wiggle, you can see it's starting to ripple. So let's give this a try. I've got one more piece of plastic set up just in case. And here we go. So it didn't blow out this time. The form is pretty good overall. You can see how it really wanted to implode there. I got that little bit of webbing, which is unfortunate, but I think that's the speed with which I put it down. So let us pull this out of here if I can. So here you can see why you need the X-Acto on hand. Keep in mind that resin is very susceptible to heat, so the longer this stays in here, the worse it is. Unfortunately, if you try to pull this out too soon before the plastic is cooled, you will essentially ruin the plastic. There's definitely a give and take kind of situation. So this one isn't quite as sharp as the other one. Let's do one more and then that's the end of this one forever. I'll take the styrene. Clamp it in. you have more tolerance, but the smell of the plastic really gets to me pretty quickly. And I can only do a few of these at a time. One of the clamps just fell off there. But the styrene smell is definitely a strong one, and you should have all your windows open and fans going as much as you can. The other day I did 6 of these or so, and by the end of that I was definitely feeling it. Here I've only done 1, and the smell is definitely distinct. I'm going to let that go a little more. So definitely avoid the odors. It's said that only the burning plastic is really bad for you, just heated isn't, but I can definitely feel a headache coming on induced by this particular scent or aroma. But because this one didn't form quite as distinctly as this one did, you can definitely see it on the back edges here. I'm going to let this sit for a few more seconds and get a nice wobble going on. If I'm successful with these, what I see myself doing is creating models for pyrotechnics. Right. That blew out. So yeah, that was a big explosion there. So the longer you let it cook, the thinner the plastic gets, probably the more likely it is to implode like this. But I gotta say, this is a hell of a lot of fun. It's definitely expensive on the wasted plastic over time. This webbing here means that this piece will essentially be unusable again. That was a really big explosion there. So, I at least have 2 of these, which means that I can now make one that I can blow up eventually. We'll see how that goes. That's a project for a long time away from now. And I think that just about concludes it for the demonstration on vacuforming. So hopefully you've enjoyed this, and I'm definitely looking forward to doing a lot more of this as time goes by. For broad shapes with very little detail, vacuforming is perfect. If you got a lot of detail, like those antenna modules I showed the other time, you got to go for resin casting. So that's it for me. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll catch up with you later.